Hey guys, so this video is much different from what I usually do. So get ready. Right now, I'm on hold with a radio show run by Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This guy knows everything about technology. So I'm going to ask him what he thinks about Bitcoin and other virtual currencies. Bitcoin is a virtual currency, so that means that it exists, but you can't see or hold it. And there are thousands of these virtual currencies, like Bitcoin. As of the time I'm filming this video, Bitcoin is now worth $17,000. Now a while ago, when Bitcoin was only $200, I downloaded this program on my computer to mine Bitcoin. Mining is just to set my computer to solve math problems, so I get a certain bit of Bitcoin every day. Now only recently, about a month ago, I took a portion of that Bitcoin I made and converted it into this other coin I found. I was looking at a list with the thousands of these coins, and I came across one called Elixir, my channel name, so I wanted to look into it more because, you know, it had an amazing name. I just love that name so much. So I was looking into it, and it actually seemed really interesting. So I moved a portion of that Bitcoin just around a month ago into Elixir when it was only 7 cents a coin. Now, just about a month later, it's $1.76 a coin. It grew 2,500% in 1 month, while Bitcoin just kinda stayed the same. That is incredible. The reason why I called Leo Laporte the tech guy is to see what he thinks about these virtual currencies.
Hey, Elia, you're number 2 in line now, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Sure, let's say hello to Elia in Santa Monica.
Hello.
Hello. Is it Elia or Elia?
Elia.
Hi, Elia.
Hi.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
I'm wondering what you think about online currencies like Bitcoin.
Oh, there you opened a can of worms, didn't you? These are called cryptocurrencies. Let me see if I can, let me see if I can explain this in a way. I love trying to do this. It's challenging, that anybody can understand. And in order to understand what a cryptocurrency is, you kind of have to understand what money is. Now, we all think we understand money because we use it every day, but maybe we don't completely understand it. So let me explain what I think money is. Money is like a battery. Batteries store electricity, so you can use it later. You generate electricity, you put it into the battery, it holds it, and then when you want it, you can use it later. Well, that's what money is. But instead of storing electricity, it stores value. And if you think about it, before there was money, I would, chop some wood for you, and then you would give me a dozen eggs. It was barter. It was trade. And there was no easy way to say, well, you chopped that wood for me. Here, let me give you an IOU. I owe you some eggs. And then maybe you go to the store, and what you really need is a shirt. You go to the store and say, I have this IOU for eggs. Can I trade this for a shirt? Oh, yeah, sure. Well, you just invented money. You've just invented a way to store the energy that you put in chopping the wood, the value, in a piece of paper. That's all money is. And it only works because we all agree that's what that's worth. We kind of think of the U.S. currency or any governmental currency, but let's use the dollar since I'm in the U.S. right now. We kind of think of the dollar as like somehow really holding value. It doesn't. It's a piece of paper. It's like an IOU, right? It's just a piece of paper. But because we all agree that $1 is worth this, a certain amount of value, it all works. And we kind of have a good sense of what a dollar is worth. Currencies don't have to be issued by governments. There have been other currencies, Canadian Tire, which is a big store up in Canada. They have Canada Tire bucks. They're just little pieces of paper. They're worth something at Canada Tire. But they actually become a currency in some areas of Canada. You chop some wood, let me give you 20 Canada Tire bucks that I can go spend at the store. Or gives to somebody else. That's not a governmental currency. You can't pay your taxes with it. That's really pretty much the only thing you can, do with dollars that you can't do with these other currencies, as long as everybody you're dealing with agrees. Some years ago, a guy or a group of people called themselves Satoshi Nakamoto came up with this idea of creating a new currency that was purely digital. They use something called the blockchain, which is basically a register. If you're going to have a system like this, somebody's got to write down, oh, well, Elia gave me 50 Bitcoin, and I have now 50 Bitcoin in my wallet, somebody has to keep track of that so that the system works. Otherwise, I could just say, no, I have 50 Bitcoin. No, you don't, because we have a register. We have the blockchain, and the blockchain is built in such a way that it's very reliable, very robust. So you can't just say, I have 50 Bitcoin. It has to exist in the blockchain. But otherwise, they're very much like any other. They call these, by the way, fiat currencies. The dollar is a fiat currency. Fiat is the Latin word for faith. I believe it's worth something. We all agree. We have a consensus that that's what it's worth. And Bitcoin, now one of the problems with Bitcoin, there's a couple of big problems with Bitcoin. One is it's very volatile. When it first started, a Bitcoin's worth a penny or two. There are people who bought, $100 worth of Bitcoin now that are billionaires because it's so volatile. In fact, I bet you even if you're all into Bitcoin, it'd be hard for you to tell what Bitcoin's worth right this instant. You'd have to go check. Could be anything from $15,000 a coin to $20,000, somewhere in there, maybe 14. It's in there. So it's very volatile. That's not good. That's not useful for a currency because we all want to agree on what a dollar's worth, right? And that's one of the reasons people use the US dollar all over the world because it's a pretty stable currency. It doesn't go up and down in value. It's very consistent. Bitcoin, no. So there's the story of the guy who spent 2 Bitcoins on 2 pizzas. $40,000 pizzas. That's because, and that was just a few years ago, the volatility. How many Bitcoin he sent? 10,000 Bitcoins on 2 pizzas? That's a lot of money. At the time, it was about the worth of 2 pizzas. And this is the problem. In 2014, 2 pizzas cost you about $20, right? 2017 cost you about 20. 2018 it cost you about $20, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but it's roughly the same. It's not $200,000 or $1. Bitcoin, it's crazy. That's problem 1 with Bitcoin. Problem 2 with Bitcoin is the cost of a transaction. This is all part of the blockchain. There's a cost to, using a credit card, right? There's a cost to a credit card transaction because somebody's managing that transaction. Well, there's a cost to Bitcoin's transaction. The problem is that cost has gone up and up and up and up. That means it's useless for buying a $10 pizza. I'll give you 1,000th of a Bitcoin, but it'll cost me $20 to pay to do it. So there have been new coins created along the same lines, not exactly, but similar to Bitcoin. There are many of them. There are hundreds of them. There's even some what we call Bitcoin forks. Some of the people who have been involved in Bitcoin have come up with alternatives to Bitcoin. And there are people who are speculating in these new coins. My son, and I said, don't, but I feel like he's learning. He's 23. He's learning a little bit about how markets work. I said, don't spend anything you can't. Don't spend more than $100 on this stuff. But the problem is, it's a little like gambling. He's made money on Ripple, a lot of money, because Ripple's gone up a lot. The guy who invented Ripple, by the way, is now worth $1 billion in Ripple. Trick is getting somebody to give him $1 billion for his Ripple. He might be able to. It's very speculative. It's not the same as US dollars, except that it is, kind of. Does that make sense? It's a way of storing value, but we don't all agree on what that value is. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So are you, why are you asking about this? Are you investing in Bitcoin, Elia, or?
Well, when Bitcoin was $200, I downloaded this program so I could mine it and get a certain amount every day.
Did you?
Yeah.
How much Bitcoin do you have?
Well, just recently, about a month ago, I was looking at these thousands of other currencies like Bitcoin, and I saw one called Elixir, which is the same name as my YouTube channel. So I decided to look into it, and I moved parts of my Bitcoin into Elixir.
Yeah.
And Elixir went up like 30 times in the past month, and Bitcoin is just kind of at the same.
So you made some money. How much imaginary money do you have now?
Imaginary money? I have a few thousand Elixir coins.
Wow! And this is why I don't mind my son doing this. Elixir is right now at $1.65, so that's a few hundred. You said $1,600 worth of Elixir. This is good. I mean, you know what? You can play with it, but it's unpredictable, isn't it? The way that Satoshi Nakamoto set up Bitcoin was people would have to solve math problems, basically factor prime numbers, solve math problems to generate coin. You need to have some way of putting money into the supply. In the U.S., the Federal Reserve Bank and the Mint, they print money, they put it into the supply, but you have to control it because if you put too much money in it, it deflates the value. Right? Then the dollar's worth less. If you put too little in, it inflates the value. It becomes more valuable. So Nakamoto came up with a very clever scheme for people to solve these, just as you did. You put a program, your computer ran, and it created Bitcoin at a certain rate. But he also made sure that as more Bitcoin was added to the capitalist, the market, that it made it harder and harder to solve these problems. And at this point, you couldn't just set up a computer and make Bitcoin. You couldn't. It's too hard. So you need a lot of processing power and a lot of electrical power to run the processors. And this is an interesting balance because electrical power costs money. It costs you money to create Bitcoin. In fact, it costs you so much money now to create Bitcoin. The only people who can do it and make money are people who get power for very cheap or free. So almost all the Bitcoin miners now are in China, living next to hydroelectric dams where the electricity to run their very powerful computers costs almost nothing. So almost all the Bitcoin miners are in China now. They used to, I mean, I know people who mined Bitcoin, but it's not economical anymore because electricity costs too much. Yeah. So that's basically how all of these systems work with some variation. So there's more there. In other words, there's more Elixir being created as well. You got to do it so that it keeps you're trying to keep the value stable. This is a big problem for Bitcoin. It's so volatile that the only people interested in Bitcoin now are speculators who are hoping it will go up and they'll make a lot of money. And that's, you know, always a risk to get involved in markets like that because you can also lose all your money. It's very volatile. And very unpredictable. Now, I think at this point we're in a cryptocurrency bubble, so that all the cryptocurrencies are basically going up because everybody says, "Well, I don't want to buy Bitcoin. What can I buy? I'll get some Ripple. I'll get some Ethereum. I'll get some Litecoin. I'll get some Elixir." But there are lots of issues with this. Lots of issues.
He asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand.
Do you have a billboard for me?
Listen,
no billboard here.
I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere.
What Leo Laporte said about mining was actually really interesting. And now with all these virtual currencies becoming so popular, it takes so much more power than what it used to. And if you want to invest in virtual currencies, don't invest more than what you can afford to lose. And if you want to invest, then I recommend you checking out Elixir coin. I'm not a financial advisor or anything, but it seems pretty interesting and it has a lot of room to grow. Thank you everyone for watching and goodbye. Lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.